Pro Business Solutions, we help our clients through the process of preparing their business plans when seeking financing for their business ideas. We help you to analyze the market, prepare a SWOT analysis, identify business goals, and prepare financial projections. Our consultants are knowledgeable, patient, and confidential. For more information, contact us at 869-663-5005 or send us an email at probusinesssolutionskn@gmail.com to set up an appointment to discuss your business ideas. Pro Business Solutions, your business, our passion. Good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Carib Gems, where we give game, empowering mindset, and success. My name is Shane Warner, and we're coming straight out of Sugar City, St. Kitts. Today we have another special guest with us, Miss Marsha Henderson, straight out of the Republic of McNight and Henderson Legal Chambers, and she's here today to explain the business side of running a law firm. So, Miss Henderson, thanks for joining us. And
thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here with you this evening, Shane.
Okay, nice. Could you just tell us about yourself? Who is Marsha Henderson?
Okay, so I don't give my age, but I can. I'm a 43-year-old mother of one boy, practicing attorney. I have my own practice in the Sands Complex, as Shane would have said, Henderson Law Chambers.
Okay, nice. Which high school did you attend?
I went to two high schools because back then we had the Bastille Junior High School and then the Bastille High School. So I would have done 2 years at the Bastille Junior High School and 3 years at Bastille High.
Okay, nice.
That is before they separated Washington Archibald from the Bastille High School.
Okay. What was your favorite subject in school?
I would have to say it was literature. I always loved reading, and that subject provided, I was geared towards reading, poetry, and so I would say literature.
Okay, nice. So what who inspired you to become a lawyer? Why did you choose the legal path?
Can I say my mother spoke it into being? Ever since I was maybe a little girl, she said I was always questioning her everything she said. I asked, Mommy, why? She said, you're going to be a lawyer. You ask too much question, you're going to be a lawyer. I think she spoke it into being.
Okay. That's nice.
It's purpose, I think.
Purpose. Okay, that's good. What are the prerequisites of enrolling into the law school at UWI? What subjects did you had to have?
At the time, which was many years ago, many moons ago, the foundational courses were history and English literature and English language. I think you require good analytical skills, and so those were the subjects or subject areas that were necessary if you wanted to be enrolled as a lawyer in the law program. I am not sure if there's been any changes, but like I said at the time, those were the prerequisites.
So English
literature, English language, and history. Even though I didn't do history, but English literature for sure.
If you're looking for a car to rent or lease, check out Juice Daddy Rentals in Soho Sandy Point for the cheap and sweet deals. They have fully insured, reliable vehicles with first-class service. So if you need a vehicle to make your moves, handle a business run, check out Juice Daddy Rentals in Soho Sandy Point. It's all about the juice, cheap and sweet. So can you speak to the different types of law, and do you specialize in any type of law?
Okay, so I do a general practice of law, mostly specializing in litigation. So I do a lot of litigation, whether it's criminal litigation, civil litigation, a bit of commercial litigation, but my practice is mostly litigation. We also have a non-contentious part of the practice, which is registration of lands, probates, affidavits, but mostly I do litigation. In terms of specializing, there are other forms of, or other areas of law that if you're interested in practicing here in St. Kitts, mostly we do litigation. There are few selected firms that do a lot of corporate or commercial law, but most of the firms here we do a general practice of law. Yes.
Okay. All right. Nice. So, why did you choose to have your own law firm versus working with an already established legal team?
So I started after law school as being a Crown Counsel. I was, what do we call it again? I think I was bonded to the government.
Bonded,
yes,
okay.
like a slave. I was bonded because they contributed towards my the cost of law school, and so that was their way of me making my contribution back. So I was bonded. I did 6 months the most with the Crown, with the government, that is. I did 6 months. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I was sitting in an office and I did a lot of opinions, and that's not me. I'm a natural advocate. So that didn't suit me. So I moved into private practice and worked with an established firm for 5 years, and then I ventured on my own thereafter. I would say out of necessity. There was a lot going on there, one, and then naturally lawyers are trained to work. You're trained to work for yourself, or even to partner with someone. So after a while, if you think you would have practiced enough to allow you to venture out on your own, and that's when I did it after 5 years.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges you faced when you were setting up your law firm? Some challenges.
I think I was super eager, so I didn't even really see them as challenges per se, but the number one thing is financing.
Financing.
It is finances. The startup expenses, unless you have a good client base to satisfy your lenders that you can meet your monthly obligations. I think having practiced for 5 years, I was able to satisfy, and I can big them up here, the FND. At this time they're called First Federal.
Okay.
Yes, and they were my lenders. They gave me my startup expenses for the first 6 months because and I am forever grateful for their support. But to me, the biggest challenge is financing. Unless you have a godfather, or you're born with a gold spoon, and me born with gold or silver or bronze. But unless you have savings somewhere that permits you. But coming out of law school, even if you had savings, more than likely they would have been depleted. So financing in terms of securing a space, the appropriate licenses, salaries, equipment, that was the biggest challenge to me.
Describe the feeling that you got when you got your first case to work on by yourself. It doesn't have to be with your law firm, but fresh out of school, the first case that you had working on yourself, how did that make you feel?
So I was a Crown Counsel. I was attached to the Attorney General's chambers, and it was a traffic matter, happened to be in the High Court, and of course it was the most terrifying experience because as a young junior attorney, you're coming up against senior attorneys, and you go in and you're terrified. You're wondering if you're going to say the right things, if the judge going to be listening to you, if you're going to be bullied by opposing counsel. It turned out well, but any young attorney, I think it's almost like a rite of passage. That's your your first experience in the courtroom can be terrifying. And the more you do it, that is why it's called the practice of law, as you go along. But it was terrifying.
I could imagine.
At Pro Business Solutions, we help our clients through the process of preparing their business plans when seeking financing for their business ideas. We help you to analyze the market, prepare a SWOT analysis, identify business goals, and prepare financial projections. Our consultants are knowledgeable, patient, and confidential. For more information, contact us at 869-663-5005 or send us an email at probusinesssolutionskn@gmail.com to set up an appointment to discuss your business ideas. Pro Business Solutions, your business, our passion.
When I did my research and asked some questions, it was said that you represent your clients with fierce passion. That's the general idea that I got.
Yes.
What do you think drives that passion, that burning for you to represent your clients to the end and make sure that, you know, they will come out on top?
Naturally, it's my personality to put my all into whatever I'm doing. And coupled with that is the oath that I took when I was admitted to practice to represent my clients fully without fear or favor. And so I think whichever matter I take up, I try my best, you know, to put my all in it to ensure that the client is adequately and sufficiently represented.
Okay. Describe for me the business side now of running a law firm. For example, your tax obligations, you know, filing with Social Security. A matter of fact, are you registered with Social Security self-employed coverage?
I am. In fact, I was the poster girl at one point in time.
Okay, nice. I would like to take the time out to encourage all small business owners, all self-employed persons to register with the Social Security self-employed coverage. It's been around for quite some time. Already 4,000 persons have already registered for the fund. Right now, the average pension for a self-employed person is $1,100, and you get access to all benefits except employment injury.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I'm encouraging all self-employed persons to take some time out, go down to Social Security and speak to one of their representatives about signing up for their self-employed coverage.
And if I could put in a plug to Mr. Warner, I think he's in compliance, but he's the one who encouraged me 9 years ago. My son is 9, and I started my practice 10 years ago. So it might be 10 years ago. 11 actually, in 2010, we're in 2021. And Mr. Warner was the one who encouraged me. I was reluctant, you know, saying that, I ain't gonna get the money from Social Security. What little bit of money is better invest my money elsewhere in, you know, real estate. And he encouraged me. I haven't regretted it up to this day. And, you know, I just want to big up Mr. Warner down in Social Security. Big him up.
Nice, big up.
A better lawyer than a business person. That is the most challenging part of running the business. I mean, but I have competent staff. They're reliable. But filing taxes, dealing with different personalities, payroll, you know, making sure that we have our stationery, you know, all the different things. And I think my staff carries most of that weight. If I could big up Kevin Seaton, he's the most senior person in the office, and he ensures that those things are done. But to me, that is the most difficult part of, I mean, it is a business at the end of the day, but and those things have to be dealt with. But I think I much prefer
to deal with
the lawyer side than, you know, that side.
Okay. On this show, we have a segment that we call the SWOT segment, where in business, when you're doing a business plan, we do what we call a SWOT analysis, where we analyze your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Yes. So what would be some of your personal strengths, and what would you say are some of your weaknesses or areas that you think that you can improve upon in the future? So we'll start with your strengths.
And this is in business?
In business, yes, in business.
My strength, I think, like I said, I'm a natural advocate. And so that's an asset in the area of business that I operate in. I'm a natural motivator. I think I have good organizational skills as well. In terms of my weaknesses, I am poor at time management. I still working on it.
You were here early today?
I was early today.
Yeah.
But generally I struggle with my time.
Okay.
Communication as well. Sometimes, as much as I'm a lawyer, I communicate, I think, effectively if we're talking.
Okay.
But in terms of following up with emails and, you know, those things, sometimes I fall short there.
Okay. Okay.
Those things I'm working on.
All right, nice. Well, we all have areas that we could improve upon, and that's why I find this section of the show is important, because we don't try to paint the picture that anybody is perfect and business is perfect. We all have areas to improve upon.
Yes.
And knowing is half the battle. If you know the areas that...
Being conscious of
yes,
it.
you are conscious of it,
yes.
you're heading in the right direction. Now, I have a interesting question. Were there ever a time that you were working on a case and you felt that the magistrate or the judge didn't rule in your favor and they were wrong? Were there ever a time?
All the time. All the time. And that is the practice of law. Even though the magistrate or judge may rule against you, it may not necessarily mean that you're wrong. But it might be that the court saw it from a different perspective. But yes, a lot of times I do matters and I'm like, no man, this can't be right. They didn't come to the right decision. But there's a mechanism in place for when you feel that way, you can appeal or you can review. So that happens. It happens regularly in the practice. Yes.
Okay, nice. If you had the final say, what are 3 laws that you would take off the books completely or change? 3 laws.
Okay. The first would be the right, which is I would take off for sure an old piece of legislation that's been there since slavery. Failure to move and keep on moving, because it restricts persons who want to protest or and protest might not even be the right word, but to demonstrate. Or go out and picket or and that piece of legislation remains on the book. It's been there since slavery. It was a way for the slave owners to control the movements of the slaves, and it's being used now to prevent persons from going out and demonstrating, or even and demonstration is just a way of showing that you are grieved about something, and that would be one I would take off. I would follow up on the marijuana legislation. I see we're moving towards decriminalizing it. Solely, it seems, for the purpose of business, but not necessarily for personal use. I think even with things in place to ensure that it's not necessarily abuse, that we should move to personalize, making it legal for personal use. I think there was some movement by the court when the decision was made that it should be legal for religious purposes. So Rastafarians can, use it and plant it for their religious beliefs. But I would move towards yes, because I see we've made some steps here in St. Kitts we're going to be making it legal for, I think, business purposes. And I know a lot of clients who are serving time just for being in possession.
True.
And, we are criminalizing our people, and yet we want to make money off of it. And people would have served time, would have had their records, stained with convictions in relation to these types of offenses. I would decriminalize it. That's the second. And the third is there's this piece of legislation where you're charged for indecent language in a public place and insulting. I like to say, if somebody abuse you, abuse them back and done with it. Don't disturb no cause. But more so, on a serious note, is persons should be allowed to express how they feel, and a curse word is like bloody hell, like they say in England. And it's in a cultural context, and I think you shouldn't be convicted or have a criminal record just because of that. So I would move away from that as well. There are a lot more, but those are the three I could think of right now.
Nice. I had a personal experience with the indecent language.
Yes. I know your name is there, and unfortunately the courts. We are getting more judges who are a lot more, they're not as conservative, and so the jurisprudence is changing, so you don't get judges sticking, you're getting judges who are bold and, prepared to change the direction of the law and as such change the jurisprudence. At the time, your father did an excellent job, but there was another case from this jurisdiction where the court had an opportunity to make a ruling that would shift the law in relation to indecent language, and they didn't. So we need bold people sitting on the bench and judges who would, take into account that we're in 2021. Why would you criminalize somebody for saying the F word?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, what had happened? A police officer, he had came to my nightclub and he asked me for my permit and other things. Basically, he was just trying to get under my skin, and I obliged, and I gave him some colorful words. I did honestly.
And colorful, as you said. Why should they be illegal?
I gave him some colorful words, and he summoned me. No, he didn't arrest me. He summoned me.
You.
And during the court case, now my father was representing me.
Yes,
God
he
bless
him. He was an excellent prosecutor.
Yes,
but he was defending you.
He was defending me, and the approach he took, he said, "Shane, just go in, listen, don't say much." So I didn't know what angle he was coming. He had planned.
Yes.
So when we got in there, he's cross-examining the police officer, and the police officer, he going in. He said, "Yes, I came to him, and so as soon as I came up to him, he gave me these bad words. He said this, F that, but." Your Honor, the music was loud, so I was the only person who could hear him. So my father said, "Okay, Mr. whatever his name is, you stated that Shane said these words, and I'm not debating or disputing whether or not he said them, but on the charge sheet you have here that you charge him with indecent language with breach of the peace.
And don't tell them, because I want them continue doing them things. Don't raise it here, because it's a common mistake they make all the time.
I just try to educate the public still, and my father was like, but if it's a breach of the peace, you also said that only you could hear him, so how is that affecting the peace? And he started to sweat, he scratched his head.
And the matter was dismissed, I'm sure.
No, the magistrate allowed the prosecutor to change the charge right there on the spot. And you could see the other lawyers, they were saying that shouldn't be, and how they could do that. But in the end, because I didn't have a record and I wasn't a known troublemaker, the magistrate, she threw out the case.
And that is the thing, when you have somebody who comes with a clean record, and because you bust a bad word, you become a criminal. And we need to move away from that.
That was my
experience. Another way of the masters, the colonial masters, controlling us. This comes from way back. So.
Okay, another topic, Big C, COVID-19.
Yes.
Now, COVID-19, it presented us with a lot of challenges.
It did, and still is.
Yeah, and still is. A lot of people, a lot of us, we did not know how to deal with it. So, you had a lot of employers making it mandatory for their employees to become vaccinated, or chances of losing their job. Now, as a legal expert, there's been a lot of debating in the public space. Now, do you think that there are any legal boundaries being overstepped by employers in making it mandatory for staff to vaccinate or lose their job?
So this goes back to what we've been saying all afternoon, that we have archaic laws.
Okay.
We are in need of a law commission. I think we do have a law commission, but we choose which laws, and we introduce new laws, and we don't remember that we need to go back and change. So like the labor laws, they are outdated. I've seen letters where some employers have mandated that employees should be vaccinated. They can't, but at the end of the day, an employer can terminate you for no reason or any reason. What the law requires is that you be paid properly in lieu. So if you'll be paid with notice, and that is the key thing under the existing labor laws, that you're given the appropriate time or the requisite time, you're paid in lieu, or you're given the notice. So it wouldn't really make an issue if it was that they want you to leave for that reason.
Oh, okay.
So it is, and I won't say that definitively. What I would say is that COVID is new, and there are cases that are being put before the courts, so it would be interesting to see how the courts rule. The law is not static, it changes.
Yes, okay. I realize that you are very active in your community, and you mentioned it earlier. You're a born advocate.
Yes.
Now, how do you find the time during your busy schedule to dedicate time to your community and give back to your community, plus being a mother as well? How do you balance that relationship?
I struggle. That's the truth. I struggle.
Okay.
But it's a balance at the end of the day. It's a balance. All work and no play.
Okay. Oh, true.
So I try my best to balance. It's also rewarding. It's a sense of accomplishment sometimes when you can give back to your community. So I make every effort with the little time that I'm allowed with my schedule to try to give back.
If you were in a position, for example, to change certain laws, or let me say, you're from the McKnight area, right?
Yes.
And you realize when you're driving through Irish Town and McKnight, you realize there are a lot of abandoned buildings, derelict buildings. What do you think can be done on a legislative level to bring, fresh housing and basically overhaul the McKnight area as a McKnighter? If you had the final say, if you were in a position, how would you tackle that issue? So
the problem, and I think that is where we might need to start to see what is the root cause of the problem. A lot of the properties in the McKnight area, even in Greenlands, where you see a lot of abandoned properties, they're owned by family members, either jointly or owned individually, who reside outside of St. Kitts. And they're owned by maybe 2 generations back, and so the children or the grandchildren are not even interested. They probably have never been to St. Kitts, and so the properties stay there. They're abandoned, they're vandalized. It's overgrown. The grass is overgrown.
Security threat.
And yes, and it causes inconvenience and nuisances to even neighbors, adjoining neighbors. If you have a document that you're the owner, you are the owner, and there isn't really anything that can be done to dispossess you of it. But the government can probably legislate to insist that properties should be maintained or kept, whether it's the surroundings or, once it becomes a nuisance, then the government, I know they were moving towards, if taxes are outstanding, then they can, move against it to recover and all of that. But we might need to go back to the drawing board in terms of how we insist that persons maintain, because you can have a property, you're paying your taxes, but you're still not doing anything to prevent it from being vandalized, or, so we may need to sit down, we may need to get some sort of commission and see what was the best approach.
Okay.
Because you don't want to dispossess people, for those reasons. Or the government may have to take it and then put it towards their taxes, or add it towards, so that you pay back the government something. And if you owe the government, then you can move against it. But the government should try not to dispossess people of what they either inherit or what they paid for. But if it means we need to send parks and beaches and attach a cost, just to ensure that persons are safe, and then you put it towards the owner's taxes as a cost that's owed to the crown, that might be an approach to take, instead of being draconian and saying, hey, we're going to take your house.
So,
yes.
I got you. Well, I saw some news today while surfing the internet.
Yes.
And I saw that persons were nominating you to be the deputy leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party.
Our great party, yes.
Yes, a great party.
Yes.
And so how does that make you feel to see that, persons in your community are nominating you for such a high position in one of the oldest political parties in the Caribbean?
Yes, it suggests that persons are confident, or they view me in high regard. They think I may have the ability to move, to contribute to the party, or to assist in moving the party forward. And I'm deeply honored. In fact, I was nominated by 2 branches of our party to serve as deputy leader, and I did accept the nomination. I couldn't disappoint and reject the nomination. So I did accept, and I'm honored. It's just left to be seen what happens at our conference at the end of this month. But whether I emerge as the deputy leader or otherwise, I am going to, and I intend to contribute in whatever capacity to the party. Yes.
Okay, nice. That's good. Yes, we need more women in politics.
Definitely, it's good to hear a man say it.
we really need more women in politics.
We do.
Yes. So, with accepting that nomination, I would assume that there are certain plans and maybe visions you might have for your community, the McKnight area. Do you care to share any of those visions, or just touch off on some things that you would like to see?
The nomination is for the party.
The party.
I suspect you're inquiring in relation to the candidacy.
Well,
for the community.
I'm not inquiring yet, but I saw that they nominate you for the deputy leader
of the party.
Of the party.
So that deals with the vision for the party.
The vision for the party, but on a community level. The number 2.
Yes.
Central Bastia McKnight area.
Yes.
What are some things that you would like to see be done to, push forward the constituency?
A lot has been done in Central Bastia by the previous administration, and and I think we can build on what we've done in terms of the policies of empowerment. A lot of centralites, as we call
organize and centralize.
Organize and centralize. So a lot of the persons from Central Bastia would have benefited from home ownership. The Shadwell housing development was initiated and done by the development was done by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And I don't want to say, may want to run your sponsors, you could cut out this part, so let me don't say a lot.
Go ahead.
But in terms of vision, so you cut out that part there. But in terms of vision, yes, we would like to continue to build on the progressive policies where the persons of Central Bastia, are empowered, either through home ownership, education, entrepreneurial benefits, and just to continue building on.
Nice. Okay, you mentioned entrepreneurship. There was a ministry of entertainment and entrepreneurship that was recently established.
Yes.
Now, me personally, I would like to see a lot more things done that could really impact small business owners and help to push them forward and help their
Definitely.
business to thrive.
Yes.
For example, duty-free concessions.
Yes.
I think that small business owners, we go through too much to get duty-free. We go through loops.
And I think it's because there's no specific criteria.
Yes.
It is just up to a particular person. And if they wake up
yeah.
in a bad mood, you know, so it's, to me, it's the absence of what. And then even if there's a criteria, it really should, you know, consider the needs of the people in the industry. So maybe the criteria is too narrow, or maybe there is no criteria, but we're not even clear how persons are selected for those things, and even if you qualify.
Yeah,
So
I think a good, you know, requirement could be, okay, you have a business license,
yes.
of course.
Yes.
Your taxes are up to date.
Yes.
If you're filing with Social Security, if you
Yes.
have those three main things in order, you
And
don't owe the government
Exactly.
either. I think that process could be could run very smoothly.
And more importantly, if your business contributes to the economy,
Yes, because
then it should make you should qualify.
yes.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be who you be or who you belong to.
Yeah. That's what I would like to see. That's one of the things I would like to see.
Yes.
So, after a long, stressful day in court, how does Marsha like to unwind and relax her mind? What you do to relax your mind?
A good walk with my good friend,
Okay.
nothing too tedious, you know, a
Okay.
nice walk. Exercise always does it, whether it's early in the morning or at the end of the day. A good walk, or go home and cook myself a good meal and unwind with my son, Liam.
Okay, nice.
Or sometimes what you do is just take yourself away from everything. I turn off my phone and, you know, just unwind.
Okay, nice,
Yes.
nice. Could you share a memorable experience with us that you had during your legal career so far? Something, a time or a court case that stood out, a period that stood out to you, and, you know,
Let me see.
a case you might have won that nobody thought you could have won. Just a memorable experience.
I'm trying to. I mean, there are so many.
There's so many. That's good. Business is good.
I think what does it for me, though, even if I can't, you know, put my hand on one,
Yeah.
I always feel accomplished when, at the end of the day, especially in the criminal courts, you know that maybe your client was wrongly accused.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a level of satisfaction at the end of the case when the client, you know, is discharged.
Okay.
What I like seeing these days is persons who are wrongly incarcerated, whether it's for mostly for criminal offenses. I like the fact that the court is now moving towards compensating. I mean, it's been available all the time, but it's happening a lot now that persons are being compensated for their unlawful detention. So even though there's a level or, you know, sense of satisfaction at the end of a criminal case, then you still feel good to know that your client can be compensated for the unlawful detention. So a lot of persons who have been detained for a long time are now being compensated for that, and to me that's I would say that is satisfying.
Okay, nice. As we wrap up, I would like you to share some advice that you would give to a young lady coming out of high school or CFB who have dreams of operating her own law firm and becoming a lawyer. What advice would you give her?
It's not an easy road in my Buja voice. Maybe see the glamour and the glitter. So I think, you know, but hard work pays off. Just as any other choice of profession, it requires a lot of hard work and dedication. I would say if you're interested, go for it. Make up your mind and stick to it. Put in the work, just like anything else, and go for it.
Okay, nice. Well, Marsha, I would like to thank you very much for taking time out.
And thank you for having
Yes.
me. It was a pleasure being here, and I look forward to coming again.
Yes, I was just about to say, after your successful nomination for
Yes.
deputy leader,
Yes.
I would like to have you come again to share your experience and update us as to
Certainly.
what's going on. So
Certainly.
thanks for coming through
And thanks for having me.
and sharing your experience. And thanks for tuning in to another episode of Carib Gems. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and we're new to TikTok.
Oh, wow.
So yes, we're trying out TikTok. Yes. So please, folks, stay safe. Have a good night. Peace.